Hello everyone. Let's jump right into the topic. Our oceans have risen nearly 3.5 inches since 1993, and the rise is only getting faster. Well, you might think that 3.5 inches of sea level rise is no big deal, but it's enough to shift coastlines and flood streets during high tides. What's even more fascinating is scientists are using a new method with lasers to measure this change with incredible precision. Well, in the next few minutes, you'll learn how these laser method works and why the sea levels are rising. Now, let's talk about the reason behind this rising sea level. At first, when water gets warmer, it expands, so the ocean takes up more space. Second, when ice and snow on land melt, all that water eventually runs into the sea. Scientists say that since 1993, about 60% of the rise has come from this new water being added. And here's the shocking part. Over 4/5 of that water comes from ice sheets and glaciers on land that are melting away. You might see these kinds of glaciers and ice sheets mostly in Greenland and Antarctica. The rest of the rise comes from the oceans soaking up heat. In fact, the oceans absorb about 90% of the extra heat trapped by greenhouse gases. So, whether it's more water flowing in or warmer water expanding, both push the sea level higher. Now, let's pause for a moment and understand what we mean by greenhouse gases. These are gases in the air like carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor, which acts like a blanket around the Earth. Here's a simple way to picture it. The sun sends its energy to Earth in the form of sunlight. Some of this sunlight is reflected back into space by clouds and the Earth's surface, but most of it is absorbed by the land, water, and plants, making the Earth warm. After getting heated, the Earth releases this heat back towards the space. However, certain gases in the atmosphere, called greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, CO2, methane, CH4, nitrous oxide, N2O, and sulfur hexafluoride, SF6, trap some of this heat and send it back toward the surface. This natural process keeps our planet warm enough. But when these gases increase too much due to human activities like burning fuel, cutting trees, and running factories, they trap extra heat, causing the Earth to become hotter than normal. Now, as we cover up the basics, let's look into how the NASA is using laser to calculate the ocean rise. Imagine you shine a torch at a mirror on a wall, and the light bounces back to you. Now, replace the torch with a laser on Earth, and the mirror with a special reflector on a satellite in space. When scientists fire a tiny laser pulse up to the satellite, it bounces back, and they measure how long it takes to return back to Earth. Now here's where things starts to get interesting. Well, when sea level rises, the ocean gets heavier. This extra water slightly changes Earth's gravity and shifts how the satellite sits in its orbit. By measuring the distance again and again over years, the lasers can detect these small changes. In simple terms, if the ocean level rises, Earth's gravitational pull will get increased and the position of the satellite changes, which means the satellite will come closer to the Earth. As this gives scientists a reliable, long-term record of how much new water has entered the oceans. Now I like to say that the report shows a few inches rise in sea level. In total, 3.5 inches increased since 1993, which means roughly 32 trillion cubic meters of new water. That's about 32 quadrillion kilograms of water added to the oceans. Now this added weight can affect Earth's rotation, change the planet's gravity balance, disrupt weather systems, and most of all, threaten the lives of millions of people living on coastlines. And the only way to slow it down is by cutting back on the carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases we pump into the air. Every ton we reduce makes a difference for the future of our planet.